welcome to episode 6 of Science is Really Freaking Cool. On today's episode, all about molecular compounds. Molecular compounds consist of molecules whose formula represents the actual number of atoms bonded together in that molecule. All of that sounds pretty intense and complicated, but I'll show you what I mean later on. Molecular compounds are not negatively charged, and they have 5 characteristics, just like ionic compounds. Number 1, they are pure substances that result from the combination of non-metals. Number 2, they can be solids, liquids, or gases at room temperature. Number 3, molecular compounds tend to be insulators or poor conductors of electricity. Number 4, they have low melting and boiling points. And number 5, last but not least, molecular compounds can also be called, and often are called, covalent compounds. Now those 5 points were mainly the foundation of molecular compounds, but let's get into how you write them out. Now there's a few things that you have to know. Molecular compounds have common names that have to be memorized. For example, H2O. H2O has a systemic name known as dihydrogen monoxide. This systemic name gives you the chance to determine the chemical formula. All of the elements in the systemic name use a prefix to tell you how many of every element are in that compound. For example, up here you can see H2O, or dihydrogen monoxide. The prefix di tells you that there's 2, and the prefix mono tells you that there's 1. So dihydrogen monoxide means 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. A key thing to remember with these formulas is that if the compound doesn't have a prefix, it's mono or 1. Like here, oxide, I took away the mono, but since it doesn't have 1, you assume that it's 1 anyway. This looks like a lot, but really it's just important to remember that there's a prefix for every number. Here I've written the prefix for every number up to 10. And here is a formula. Carbon tetrachloride. Carbon doesn't have a prefix, which remember tells us what? There's only 1. But tetrachloride, if you look up here, tetra equals 4. So that tells us that there's 4 chloride. Now making sure you use the proper prefix for every element is very important. But something else that's just as important is to make sure you change the ending of your second element to I. It wouldn't be dihydrogen monoxide, it would be dihydrogen monoxide. This was a lot of stuff to remember, but it's important. And this has been all about molecular compounds. See you next time!